Being on the like the assistant or the VA can be so powerful to unlock like bottle locks and potential. And we wrote an article about this, just kind of breaking down. It's on the blog for those that want to check it out, on the Consulting Success blog, about hiring your first assistant and the steps to go through. But for you specifically, like, why did you make that your first hire? What were you aiming for or hoping for that would allow you to do?
So I can't really take the credit for this one. I work really closely with a business coach, and I wanted to hire another expert consultant as my first hire. And she told me, if you do that, you're going to spend all of your time managing this other consultant's work instead of doing your own work. You need to hire an administrative assistant. And I was really resistant at first, but I followed her advice because every time that I have, it's gone really well for me. And what it really did is it frees up your core time to spend on the things that were going to make you the most money, because then I'm not worrying about things like what's the P&L like, or, do we have the right equipment? All of that is kind of handled for me. And I was lucky enough to find someone who also has a lot of that logistics experience that can help manage things and say, hey, this is what our capacity is like. And really, I can't recommend highly enough that should be one of your first hires before you start loading on more expert consultants.
And is there something that you looked for, or something that you did in that hiring process to ensure that like this was the right person, they would bring the right values or culture or skill set, or just like any lessons learned or any mistakes that you made looking back going like, wow, I wish I didn't do that? Just anything you could share that might help people to stay on track and not veer off on some random road?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I know that I say I really recommend working with a business coach, but my business coach also specializes in this hiring process. So I actually hired an administrative assistant expert to help me with this process. So she helped craft the job description for me, and actually did the initial screening calls, and then would recommend people based on that, and guided me through the whole process. And I really recommend doing something like that if you have the budget for it, because I didn't really know what to look for in an admin person. I didn't know like what skills it was, because it's so different from my own. And then the other part is that like an administrative assistant is like a very close to you role. So you need to make sure it's somebody who will complement your personality type and your ways of working, and can work with that, because and be honest with yourself about who you are and who you're going to be, because there's certain people that wouldn't be a great admin for you, but they're a great admin in general.
Was there any kind of like test or assessment or a small initial project or something that you did that helped you to verify and kind of validate, like, yeah, this person is the right one, and kind of just to get them to leap over that hurdle before you invested more? Or just what was that like for you?
The way that I liked, and this is what I used for all of the consultants and not just the admin, is that I like behavioral style interviewing, where you're asking for specific examples. And then this is once again, not my process, but still recommend it. I also use a DISC assessment, which is a personality type assessment, to create more questions. So it's not necessarily about what the DISC itself says. It's what questions you ask based on that, because everybody has strengths and weaknesses that are kind of the base part of the personality. So if you ask some guiding questions, you can understand like how self-aware is this person. So that's how I got a really good feel for those pieces. And I also made sure to ask questions about situations I know that an admin would get into with me, just based on my personality type. And I think that helped be really revealing. Like, will this person, be offended by how direct I am, or are they going to be fine, and things like that, just to make sure that they're the right fit.
What would be a red flag